Welcome to the Relateable podcast, a safe space for open and honest conversations created for Black people.
This podcast explores how we relate to one another in our intimate connections, friendships, family, and everything in between. Hosted by 3 Caribbean women. I am Fiona, a single mom.
I'm Sherween, a very near empty nester.
And I'm Chantal, a free-spirited monogamist. Relatable, because a shared journey brings hope. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Relatable, Episode 2, Season 3. Listen, today's discussion is going to leave a lot of you thinking, and we actually want to hear from you. What we forgot to mention last week was that we want to start or restart Relatable Letters, Dear Relatable. So what we are going to try and do is at the end of each episode, actually announce what the next episode is going to be. We're going to try. This is new, so bear with us.
We're trying, eh?
We're trying a thing. We're trying a thing. And then, so ahead of next week, you can then send your letters of maybe an experience that you've had or a question, something that may be on your heart, or even anything that resonates with you, okay? So we're going to try. We're going to try a lot, but we may not always be on point with that. It's new. It's a new groove. But outside of that, and before we get into this episode, how y'all doing? Sherween, Fiona, what's good?
I'm doing amazing.
I know she is.
Oi, it's my birthday tomorrow, okay? So that's the only reason I'm doing very well. I am very happy and excited.
Wait. So we're recording today, but by the time our listeners hear this episode, your birthday would have passed.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
But I will still be appreciating love and gifts and everything up until probably the end of the year. So it's okay.
Abundance. You are accepting abundance.
Abundance.
In all forms.
That's right. That's right. So
Awesome.
I am very happy. I'm doing amazingly well.
So it's your birthday eve.
It's my birthday eve and I'm celebrating from today.
I bet you are.
Fiona, how are you doing?
I love the deflection.
Right?
I'm good. Yeah, man. Well, Sherween knows that we had a really lovely evening last night. I am performing in a play.
Oh, we love that.
Yeah, it's with the masquerade. So just like how y'all have like sugar mass and y'all have the traditional masquerade and stuff, we have our own traditional masquerade that comes out at Christmas time.
Okay.
As well. But we have like things like Papa Jab, which is of course the devil, and we have, so I'm playing Seraphina, so I'm on my stilts for a little bit. And so yeah, we were practicing yesterday. The story is really powerful because they're introducing a new masquerade character in a nutshell. Because you're like, well, you know, yes, we're sticking to traditions by having traditional masquerade characters, but it is also our culture for us to introduce new characters. And this one is very powerful. So in a nutshell, it's a story of a mother. She falls in love with a jab through masquerade, right?
Oh, wow.
And then she becomes pregnant by him. So it's like this little love story. But then Papa Jab comes and kills the jabs, right? He kills the masqueraders, but he has a power to resurrect, right? So he resurrects the jabs back. But when he is resurrected, he doesn't recognize the love of his life.
No.
Right? Yes.
Stop.
And then so she gives birth alone. The man is gone or whatever. And then she has a daughter. And her mother now is a single mother. She's working in a hotel. She's really unhappy, very moody. And they live in a house with one of her cousins, and her cousins is abusive to the daughter.
Oh, no.
So she's living in a very unhappy household. So the mother cannot afford to pay her CXCs. And so there's this guy, Mr. John, who's in and around the neighborhood, and he has a farm or whatever. And he offers to pay for her CXCs and for her to stay in his house while she quote unquote studies. Right. And the mother reluctantly sends her daughter there. And of course, we know what happens. Right. But then she graduates from school. She gets a job. She gets an apartment for her and her mother. And she's doing her thing. And Mr. John comes back and he's like, oh, you there looking for man and whatever. That's what you did me there for. You're looking for man. And he beats her. Right now, at this point, one of the kind of spirits, so Seraphina, which is me, and Maria Set, which is one of the other spirits, call Papa Jab to resurrect her, right? Because he has the power to resurrect. And now she resurrects as the she-devil. Oh. And she has her Jabbets. And it's only the she-devils are the ones who can blow fire. So she's going to blow fire on stage, and she has her Jabbets. And now this is the birth of the new character out of the ashes of abuse as the she-devil who is the wrath of abused women in St. Lucia.
I love this.
I know you would.
know.
When you see her scream when she rises up, when she resurrects.
Chantal.
Yes.
I saw it yesterday, and guess I had chills, I had goosebumps, and it was very triggering.
It was
very triggering, I have to say that. And there's this love-hate type of feeling I have for the mother, but at the same time, there's this understanding, but the hate, I think, surpasses. I understand, but boy, I would find a way. I would not.
Right. Of course you wouldn't.
But yeah, so it's a beautiful story. It's very short. I was there waiting, I'm like, I want more. I want more.
Like
I want to see how she destroyed Amanda.
Right.
Yeah, because it ends with her birth. Yes.
I want to see her take on Mr. John. You understand? But yeah, but it's just the birth of this new character. And it's so special. It's beautiful. It's lovely.
Where are people able to see this?
It's going to be performed throughout masquerade season, which is Christmas time. So they're going to perform it on the streets. But we doing 3 days of performance in a place called Warehouse 11, which is a giant warehouse. It's like a mass camp of a specific carnival band that is very traditional. They do the no feathers thing. So they were granted a space by the government there's a space for a stage and things like that, so people can come. So yeah, so I have been rehearsing, and it's been really, I got back up on my stilts, and it feels really good to just be doing something. And I love this kind of modernized version of the tradition, still holding true to the traditions, but this birth of this woman who's rising from the ashes. I absolutely adore the story. So I feel purposeful right now.
Oh, I love this for you. Oh, Fiona. Yeah. I mean, I can't neglect my sugar mass to come to St. Lucia, but it's very tempting. Very, very tempting. The she-devil, loving it all.
Yep.
Okay, so your week has been good.
So how was your week, Chantal?
My week, you know what? My week, I feel like I did things, but it's all a blur. And I'm here. I'm actually like, wait, my week. It was busy. I have quite a few new clients, and so there's been a lot of onboarding. One of my clients, she is a spiritual life coach. So, there's a lot of alignment there. And I'm doing some work for her on her website. And the content is so beautiful that I have to make sure that I stay focused on what I'm there to do instead of reading everything. Because I swear, everything she writes, I'm like, oh my God, yes. And writing down, this name and that name to research later. But it's been really beautiful, because there's been another client who I've had to let go of. And as someone who is self-employed, as a freelancer and as a consultant, that is something that we have the power to do. We can actually let go of clients. It's been quite challenging because I love what the client does, and I absolutely love their work. But in terms of what I can offer them remotely, their needs now have grown and surpassed my capacity.
Okay.
And I don't think that someone remotely is effective enough for them anymore. Their career has taken off. Amazing things are coming their way. And it's been like, yo, we have to break up.
Oh,
okay.
You know, when you're in a relationship,
it's sad, but okay,
right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're in a relationship and everything is good, but it's no longer working, right? You can feel it's no longer working, and you're like, we need to break up. dude, this is how it's felt. And what I didn't want to happen is that we get to the point where resentment starts to build because their needs are no longer being met, because I don't have the capacity to do so, because their needs have grown, right? And I didn't want it to end on a bad note. So it's been really like, oh, we have to have this conversation. But we had the conversation, and I'm happy that we did. And it also opened up space, as the universe does, to say, well, okay, you're letting go of one, but here's another one, right? So that was quite beautiful. And I really, for me, it was an exercise in releasing my fears, releasing the lack mindset, and knowing that I'm safe, that I will be provided for, instead of being led by my fears and led by lack, being led by abundance, right? It was not easy to do, but for my sanity and for my nervous system, that was the way that I had to approach it. So yeah, so that was my week. And here we are, a new week. So actually, I think that's a really great segue.
I was about to say that. I think it is.
Speaking of alignment and speaking of breakups, so you know how when we think of breakups, we tend to think of intimate relationships, right? But we've all broken up with friends and being broken up with by friends. And it's something that I think we don't really speak about openly, or we don't speak about enough, going through a friend breakup, the end of a friendship, right? And so we thought that that would be a really interesting topic to dive into. Friend breakups, whether we've had them, you know, which end were we on? Were we the person that broke up with the friend, or did the friend break up with us? How did we heal through it? What were our feelings? What were our lessons learned? Does it get easier the older you get to go through a friend breakup, or is it harder? All of these things, right? So that's what we're talking about. When friendships have to end, or when they end naturally. So I'm going to start with Sherween. Sherween.
All right.
Sherween, have you ever experienced a friendship breakup?
Girl, of course.
Of course.
Of course. But before I go into it, really, I want to start with something. I saw something today and I knew what the topic was for today. And I saw that and it really resonated. So I'm just going to read it. It's very short. So it's 6 questions to ask yourself daily. Does this align with the life I want to live? Is this person or thing raising my energy or lowering it? Does this serve my greater purpose? Are my actions in tune with the better version of myself? Does this make me feel good now? And will it make me feel good later? Ooh. And are the choices I am making solely for myself or for others? Okay. Now, I saw that this morning. I was like, this is interesting. Interesting that it was posted today by a friend of mine. I'm like, I made certain decisions to walk away from people because I felt they were not good for me anymore. I felt there were certain things that I would accept and certain things that at my big age, I don't have to accept at all. And I am at the point in my life whereby if I want somebody in my life, I will make time and make space for them. But if I don't, if I believe this person is not good for my energy, this person, whatever it is they want or whatever it is they're doing, it's serving them, but probably not elevating me or and it's not about elevating me. It's about being there for people when they're doing their things. But sometimes it could be draining. I'm going to be honest. It could be very, very draining. So I decided probably a long time ago, probably about 2020 was a big year. And there were certain people in my life who needed to go. They needed to go because they were just not aligning with my journey, my purpose, what it is I want to do, what I want for myself. They won't. And I also read somewhere that when you're doing things for yourself, when you reach the point where you're elevating or you're working on yourself, some people you have to make some cuts. You have to make some cuts. And these people, the ones who got cut out of my life, it's not because of a lack of love.
Right.
I love them. I still love them. These people were in my life. One of them, interestingly, was in my life from the time I was a teenager. We were exchange students at high school. Right. And we were best friends. We spoke all the time. We grew up. She went to Paris. I was in the UK. And we just stuck together. We do what she does in life. I just love it. She's into spirituality and natural healing and baths and all these things. And these are things that I myself am passionate about as well. However, you know, when you know somebody so well, and sometimes you could lose some respect, as in you feel you could treat them and speak to them in whatever way you like. And because you know that they're there, they'll accept it, and they'll be vexed for a little while, but then
Sherween will get over it.
Sherween will get over it. I could tell Sherween she's a this and she's a that. Yes, she'll be vexed, but after a while, Sherween will get over it.
Okay.
And I chose not to. I said, I'm sorry. I am not 12-year-old, 15-year-old girl that used to just take shit, Gassa. Just allow people to speak to me how they want, and nothing for it. So we had this bust up, and she said some really awful things to me. Awful things I would never say to, maybe if I real vex, I'll tell her to somebody on the street I don't know, and I know I'll never see them again, maybe on a bad day. But I would never say it to a friend or somebody I loved. You get me? Things were said, and I just was like, Sherween, no, you can't let that slide. You can't. And if that person valued you, they wouldn't speak to you in that way anyway. You get me? So I made the decision. I said I did not quarrel. I did not shout. I just said, thank you very much. And that was it. It was like a sisterhood. We were sisters. I believe we still are sisters. And I do love her. I love her, but I'm loving her from afar. I'm appreciating what she's doing. I'm watching all the stuff she's been up to. And I'm like, you go, girl, do your thing. Do your thing. I'm sending all the positive energy and all the love, but I'm doing it from my space from afar. I do not need to be in your life. I could support by liking and sharing and whatnot, but I do not need to be in your life, if you get what I'm saying.
Of course we do.
So so that's one. And that was very painful, a very painful one. And I had one more who, again, same thing. I knew her when I was from university. And then things happened, we were very, very close, extremely close. She's my kid's godmother. But then she was going through things. I was trying to be there for her. But then when you see people doing shit, I'm the friend that will call you out on it too. I'm not like them, an echo chamber. I will not be there supporting your bullshit. I will tell you, boy, you're doing bullshit. You're doing bullshit. Probably she didn't like that. She didn't like that I was calling her out and telling her, hey, Casa, you need to be appreciative of what people do for you. You can't treat people that way. You can't speak to people in that way. And then so my messages and calls were left unread, or she didn't answer. And I just say, okay, fine. That's it then. That's it. You cannot take the constructive criticism. I was not being an ass. I wasn't quarreling or shouting. I just said, I do not like the way you're handling this, and you could handle it better, especially when it comes to your own family. You will regret it. That's not what she wanted to hear. So I said, you know what? You need your time to make your own decisions and do your thing. You don't need me in your life. So I just stepped away. Same thing. And that hurt as well. But you know what? I'm happier for it. Very.
Right. When these friendships broke down and you made the decision to distance yourself from the friendships, obviously these friendships meant a lot to you, you know.
Yep.
How Because then you went into a grieving phase, right?
Yep,
because it's
definitely
a loss, and grief isn't just attached to the physical transition of people from the earthly realm to the other. If you believe in another realm, a loss can be, and grieving can be associated with the loss of anything, a job, or something like a piece of jewelry or a friendship. So how did you grieve?
My childhood friend, that one hurt me a lot. I think I spoke about it a lot. I think I spoke to Fia about it. I cried about it for quite a while. Then I blocked because I didn't want to be seeing her anywhere or seeing anything. And then after a while, I unblocked and I said to myself, you know what, Sherween, you could love from afar. You could love from afar. So I went through the process. I was angry, I was sad, I was hurt, I cried a lot. My kids, not many people know that we're no longer friends. People still come up to me, my family still come up to me and ask me, oh, where's this person? What they up to? When are you gonna go see them? Keep saying, yeah, I don't know. But I'm not there going around saying, oh boy, I have nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
Nah. I just dealt with it the way, boy, I cried, I did my thing, but then I was fine. For both of them, I was fine. So I went through the stages, just like like if you break up with somebody, as in a partner, I went through the stages the same way. But you know what? It's all good now. I am happy. I'm comfortable with it. I'm not there wishing anything bad on anybody. I just want love for everybody, to be honest. So that's it. That's how I dealt with it.
Wow, that's the best approach. It's not about wishing ill on anyone. In life, sometimes things just don't work out. And that is absolutely applicable to friendships. So thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us, Sherween. Fiona, my girl, what about you? Have you ever contemplated breaking up with a friend? Has a friend ever broken up with you? Where do you stand in this?
Yes, it's happened several times. Sometimes like mutual, sometimes very volatile. I had a friend growing up from secondary school, and she used to bully me a lot in the beginning, right? Well, I mean, I was bullied a lot in like form 1, form 2 times because I was very nerdy. I was very academic. I used to read the encyclopedia for fun. I wasn't doing all the things that I was still transitioning out of Barbie. I can't remember, but it was like, so I wasn't, I guess, as into the more popular things that other children were. And then I was also very quiet, right? But yeah, she used to bully me a lot. But then we became very close around form 3 time, like tight. She's very smart, like so smart. She always used to excel in school. She's also very, very talkative. And she was full of figured. And she had like a lot of insecurities, of course, being a teenager. And then in our little squad, you have your squad of friends or whatever. She was the biggest one. And she used to, I mean, I didn't get none either, but she did not get the same attention from boys as, say, the others in the group, right? So I thought maybe we were the two kind of, not outcasts, we're not outcasts because we were in the source, right? But it was more that we didn't have no boyfriends. Everyone else had already had their little boyfriends already. So I don't know if it's that, in retrospect, looking back, if that's what brought us closer or what. We became very, very close. But she had a very complicated relationship with her mother. I think their boundaries weren't very clear between mother and daughter relationships, where it borderlined being friends too early. It was a lot of things. So the friendship became very needy as we got older, and like I'm driving, and then it's like, so I'm always the one driving, right? So it was like basically when we're going out and things like that, right? The club is like all the nightclubs and stuff in St. Lucia are all in the same place up north, which are 5 minutes away. She lives without traffic, say 25 minutes away. So I drive the 25 minutes too. I'll say I'm coming. I'm leaving the house now. And then when I get there, she hasn't even bathed yet. So I would have to stay and wait. And then also then she would go through different outfits and try on clothes over and over and over. And then I have to be there waiting. and waiting and waiting. And I tell her, guess that one is good. That one outfit, you look fine, look great, you look wonderful, whatever. And it was just never good enough. I was managing those things. And then it was just, she would make you feel guilty times when you could not be there for her in the way that she wants you to be. She just became very, very demanding, and it was very dismissive of things that I would be going through, or why I cannot be there for her now, right now. And then similar to you, Sherween, she would say when she's mad, she'd be very cruel, very cruel, and say like some things that make you question, not, oh, they were just mad, so they just said that. They say things that are very personal that makes me think, wow, is that what you were thinking this whole time?
Yep.
You know, so it's different to, oh, you're being an asshole, or whatever, you're being a bitch, whatever. No. It would be very, very personal attacks. And even kind of throwing back like intimate moments, vulnerable moments, you know, secrets that you shared with them, insecurities you have about yourself, and be thrown back onto you. And you'd be like, wow, it's like, so it created a level of, like, I said, like, if you and me have an argument, you gonna attack me so personally in that way. It was just a continuous thing. And a lot of us who were also close to us in the group also kind of severed ties because it became too draining, right? I can't even remember what was the tipping point that made the friendship end. It was just a culmination of so many things. Now, the thing is, I understood the complicated relationship she had with her mother. I understood that she did not feel desired by fellas when you've seen everybody else in the crew have boyfriends and things like that. And, you know, it's harder for you. You're not getting the attention like everyone else is. Or people, you know, teenagers are cruel. They'd make drawings or create nicknames, you know, about her. Well, they did about all of us, but specifically about her weight, right? So all of those things affected her a lot. And I understood all of that. But why the hell are you abusing me for things that are not my fault? I'm not those other people. And that was that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fiona, how old were you when all of this was taking place?
I was in uni, so I'm at 19.
19.
Yeah, about 19, maybe 20. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And having to navigate this.
Yeah,
That's too much.
It was you know what it is? It's like it was the guilt tripping when you could not be there for her at the snap of a finger. And even sometimes when you were, like, so little things like the inconsiderations of, I'm driving all of this way to come pick you up. I'm literally the club like 2 minutes away. And I'm driving all of this way, and I'm telling you I'm coming, and you haven't even. I know this say she was doing anything, you know, she was watching TV. But Fiona must wait, right? Fiona must wait. And the same way with Sherween, like with you, it's like Fiona will get over it. I kiss her and tell her everything about herself and expose all her insecurities and said these terrible, sorry. So, you know, I was just mad at it, and you'll get over it, right? After a while, every rope have its end.
Yep, the longest rope.
Yeah, and then, you know, just to close off my little section, but it was like same thing like you, Sherween. Wish her the best because she's a brilliant person. She's funny, witty, articulate. Anything she puts her mind to, she can do it. But it's just how she treated not just me. Several of us have also had to distance ourselves because it just became too much, because she used to be very verbally and emotionally abusive to her friends, and then expect them to forgive because I'm going through this hard thing. So, and I'm like, you know how, you know me already, it's not what you say, it's how you say it, right?
Yep.
So that was a very, very long and drawn out breakup. Yes.
But what did you learn from that, Fiona? That's the thing. What's the learning that you took forward?
My takeaway is that you have to look after yourself. Just because someone is going through something difficult, that doesn't mean you should take abuse. And that you can love someone from a distance. You can wish them the best. You want the best for them. But when it comes to a point where you are being depleted from that friendship, then that's not a friendship. If someone is being depleted, it's not a friendship because it's an exchange.
Yeah, and it's very one-sided.
Yes, some days one gives and the other receives, and the other day the person who just received gives back to that other person. So it's looking in a circle. But if you are in a constant state where you are the one being depleted, and even you in a state of depletion, it's never good enough.
I'm actually here Googling the definition for friendship, because you raised...
That's a good point.
Yeah, you said something. It's like, well, that's not a friendship. I'm like, but what is a friendship? How is it defined? And so I found a definition, Fiona, and listen to this definition and what you just said. Friendship, a state of enduring affection, esteem, intimacy, and trust between two people. In all cultures, friendships are important relationships throughout a person's lifespan, right? So when you have the equilibrium of that being impacted consistently, where it's not flowing, and so as in relationships, and when I say relationships, I mean intimate relationships, it does ebb and flow. But I think the key things here are a state of enduring affection, esteem, intimacy, and trust between two people. Right?
Yep. I think trust is very important there, especially when one party is upset. I could trust that, Kasa, if you're my friend, you hold my secrets, I hold yours. You understand? And when people are upset, how they deal with that, it tells a lot about them as a friend and who they are. Okay, if you're choosing when you're upset to be so awful about my feelings, to be so awful about throwing things back in my plate, Gasa, really? Or you holding on to things and you're no, you don't do that. And I always believe you never say anything out of anger that you will regret when you're not angry.
Yep.
Right.
And that goes for everything, relationships, children, family, especially friends. Because if I know, guys, so you talk to me like that or you say something, hey, you gone one time. I'm not going to give you the opportunity to do it again because you're not good for me.
How can I trust you again?
I cannot trust you.
And as you said, Chantal, trust.
That's the thing, yeah.
Trust and affection.
That's the bedrock.
Trust and affection. And somebody doing you something like that is devoid of all affection and definitely mashes up your trust.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Hence the reason my circle is very small. Very, very small, because my friends are like sisters. I'm closer to my friends, sadly to say, than I am with my own blood only sister. I am. And I cherish them and value them. But at the same time, if I'm not being treated the same, then I will come out of that situation.
Right.
Anyway.
But they say that you choose your friends.
Yes.
You don't choose your family.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, folks, welcome to this episode of Under the Mango Tree from the lovely island of St. Lucia. And today we're going to capture some sounds from under the ackee tree. Right next to the ackee tree is a gentle crystal wind chime. The ackee tree is full to the brim with ackees that are ripening, and so the tree is full of banana quid buds. So let's enjoy this moment of respite of under the mango tree, or should I say under the ackee tree. Chantal.
Hey.
Your time now.
I mean, you have both given me so much to think about already, but I'm actually going to reverse this because I have been the friend that was broken up with.
What?
Dun, 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 dun.
What?
Plot twist.
Okay.
I want to hear that one.
I have been the friend that was broken up with, right? I was in my late 20s, early 30s. And I had just left my husband and had moved to England or back to England, basically for a restart, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, when you're going through a divorce, it is mentally and emotionally exhausting. And I was coming to the UK and moving to London, where I had not grown up. I had grown up north. I'm a northerner. So didn't really have anyone in London. In fact, I had no one in London. My nearest family were in Windsor and Slough. But I decided I'd spent some time living in New York in between Nevis, and I just knew that I could not go back to Leeds. And so I came down to London and I started my life over and didn't have any friends. So I found myself, where was I? I was at an event and I was approached by another young woman, and she seemed quite friendly. I had my work colleagues, so I don't think I was at the event on my own. I was with my work colleagues, and my first job in London at that time was at Le Cordon Bleu. And I was the international enrollment officer. And so I was out with my colleagues and a few chefs, and I was approached by this young woman who, she saw us having a good time laughing and whatever, came over, heard my accent. I was like, whoa, where are you from in the Caribbean? Because that is a Caribbean accent. I just can't quite detect which island. So I told her, not expecting her to know Nevis because hardly anyone does. And usually I have to explain, St. Kitts and Nevis, the Federation, we're 45 minutes flight away from Antigua. And then people start to kind of, connect the dots. But this person knew straight away. She was like, some friends of mine got married there. And we got to talking, exchanged numbers, really lovely woman. Then it turned out that we were both into media. She had just finished an internship at the BBC and, made some connections for me to get involved in a program there. So yeah, fine. However, I was not in the space where I wanted to be going out a lot. I also didn't have the money to be going out a lot. I didn't have the financial capacity. Remember, I was essentially starting my life over from scratch. Okay. So I had come over to London. I've got my first flat on my credit card. Like I was living off my credit card, reestablishing myself because I couldn't get a credit card from the UK. So it was my credit card from back home. My little savings that I brought with me London will eat those up in no time. Hello, London is a beast. And so I had to use like my deposit, I had all kinds of things and I just wasn't in the space. And this person really wanted me to be going out and about and I couldn't, right? And so there were many instances of me saying no and also canceling at the last minute because I was ashamed to say no again, but knew that I couldn't go. And so waited until the last minute and would just cancel, right? And we went out to some festivals. I would say yes to all the free things. And so London in the summer, as you know, is filled with free events and free music festivals. And we would always have a good time, right? And so this was like a few months into the friendship, whatever. And there was her birthday, which I managed to scrape together some pennies. I'm like, I can't cancel on this person's birthday. Like, I have to show up. So went out to this beautiful restaurant in Islington, met a few more of her friends and felt good. Like, okay, at least I showed up for her birthday. Okay. But then I was going through a really down spiral. My ex-husband was threatening me at that point.
What?
Yeah, because how dare I leave him, right? It was like, how dare you leave me? You lied to God, you lied in the church. Like a lot
man
of
can really can't
but it's not that. Is anyway, go on.
You lied to God. How about what? You know what?
Yes, Fiona, go on.
Wrong, wrong. Because I didn't vex. Threaten who? Threaten who?
Yeah, and had started to spread lies about me in Nevis and why I had left him. So it was really, really horrible. really horrible. Had people calling me saying, Shani, how could you do this to him? I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yo.
So yeah, it was not a good period at all. But in the same token, he was also like in my DMs on Facebook saying, you know, let's start over. Let's just go away for a trip. Let's go to Brazil. You've always wanted to go to Brazil. So honestly, it was just like a big mind fuck at that point.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't the best friend. I wasn't showing up for her. And so one day she called me and she said just that. She said, you know, I've really been trying with this friendship. I think you're a lovely person, but I just feel that you're not in this friendship. And I don't want to, she didn't say waste her energy. She didn't use those words, but yeah, she broke up with me. And I hung up the phone like, damn, wait a minute. Like, I really just got broken up with. And she was within her rights. 100, because she felt that she was pouring into this friendship. She didn't feel that I was showing up for her in the way that would build our friendship. And she was right. I wasn't. And I wasn't being a good friend because I wasn't being truthful with her about why. Because I'm pretty sure now, in retrospect, if I had said to her, this is what's going on, this is what's happening, and I don't have the emotional capacity to nurture this friendship, then maybe the friendship would have maybe stood a better chance, but I didn't. And so the lesson that I learned from that was, if you can't show up for people, let them know.
Thank you.
You know what? Chantal is very good.
Thank you, Chantal.
Okay.
Thank you. I love that.
Yeah. Let them know. And I love that. Also, if you can't stand in your truth, like I couldn't stand in my truth because I was ashamed. And so another lesson was let go of the shame.
Yeah.
Nothing that you are experiencing deserves shame.
Yep.
Because you're a human being and you're experiencing life, and life isn't always a bed of roses. It just isn't. And if you give someone your truth and they don't want it, then that's on them and not on you. And you also know where you stand. So I didn't even give that person a chance to decide what she wanted to do.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Because she could have said, okay, Shan, I understand. So I won't put so much pressure on you. Or maybe when we're going out, I'll choose less expensive places or activities to experience. But I didn't give her that chance because I was wrapped up in shame of going through a divorce, in shame of starting over and not having 2 pennies to rub together consistently. Like all of this shame of an experience that at some stage in our life, many of us will go through.
Yes.
And so I potentially lost a really good friendship over that. So many lessons learned from being broken up with.
Boy.
Many lessons, you know? And I wished her well. Like I didn't harbor any ill feelings towards her. And I had to nurse my little heart, you know, and my ego, because that was bruised. Like, I'm a good friend. What's she talking about?
Yes.
I was actually not being a good friend. That's what she's talking about.
Yes.
Definitely. And I have learned, you know, and sometimes I have to relearn to say when I don't have the capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's important. Truth, you know, like the definition said, truth is very, very, and truth isn't always pretty. Truth can be ugly, but a real friendship can withstand ugly truth.
Yes.
And if it doesn't, then it's a friendship that has outgrown itself.
Yes.
And it's time to move on. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
That's a very powerful story though. I like this person because it wasn't a malicious or thing. It seemed that she was very clear about what she wanted from a friendship.
Yes, she was. And I love that. And I learned from that as well. You know, big woman things. Like I know what I require in a friendship and you ain't it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not it.
And I am going to tell you.
Yes.
I'm not just
gonna ice you out cold.
Yeah, she did not.
Yes,
she
told
I'm gonna tell you. Now that's probably something I need to learn because I'm at the walking away stage in my life from things and people, and I'm just like, yeah, deuces, I'm out.
Right.
Yes.
And maybe that's something, communicate that to people. I've come down to St. Lucia now and I've made some friends. But the type of person I am, I'm loving my my own company at the moment. Absolutely loving it. And sometimes I don't want to be going out and doing things and staying on the phone to chat for how I know I like my own company. So there may be people who think like, boy, Sherween down here, I haven't seen her. Yeah. So maybe I could take a leaf out of that book and communicate these things to people. I'm learning.
So now that we have discussed the ebbs and flows, peaks and troughs of friendships and learning about friendship breakups, let's talk about what brings us joy this week. Sherween, hit me.
Boy, there's a few things bringing me joy this week. For one, it's my birthday week. So that's bringing me lots and lots of joy. Second, I still think I want to go to Valiant and somebody's still stopping me, but it's okay.
Okay, you know what? I really need to interject
my goodness. My goodness.
Motherfucking now. I said I am not going to Valiant. I don't like Valiant's music. Okay? I don't like it. I said I will go to a country and western show faster.
And that I will not do. I will not do. You will go by yourself to that one.
And the thing is, you're not going by yourself. There have been offers for you to go to Valiant. Okay. It's because it's in Soufrière, Chantal. So she'd have to spend the night in Soufrière. Okay.
Right.
And come back up. And so it's not as simple as it being just down the road. Okay. And she say, I'm stopping her from going because I
said somebody. Did I say Fiona Compton is stopping me? I said somebody. Let the records.
Okay.
So that's these things are bringing me lots of joy. And just being home, I think, planning our new trainer thing, all the stuff we're doing. And so these things bring me a lot of joy. I'm in a very joyful place at the moment. So I may not be able to pinpoint exactly what's bring me all this joy, but I am in a very joyful place and I'm loving it.
Chantal?
What has been bringing me joy over the last few days? You know what? Funnily enough, spending time with my friends.
Okay.
That is what has been bringing me joy. So a few days ago, I had dinner with two of my friends, one who lives in St. Kitts, another one who lives in Nevis, but she was flying in from Barbados into St. Kitts that evening. So came off the plane straight off the jumbo jet. I came to the restaurant and then we had a lovely meal and then we sailed on over to Nevis afterwards. So that was like 10:30 at night. And what brought me joy was the ease of transportation between St. Kitts and Nevis because the restaurant was nearest. We have two different areas that you can sail into the islands, the capitals. So Bastir in St. Kitts, Charlestown in Nevis, and Owali Beach in Nevis, and Reggae Beach in St. Kitts. And the water taxis that run between Owali and Reggae Beach are like 5 to 6 minutes travel time. And then you're right there in an area of St. Kitts that has some beautiful beach restaurants. And so you can literally just eat at the restaurant, then jump on a water taxi and come back over to Nevis. The ferry schedule, the ferries that run between Charlestown and Bastir are like between 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and an hour for some of them. And they go between the two capitals and they take you to the capitals. And then it's easy to get around from there. It's just so lovely to have those different options depending on what your purpose is for both islands. And so I did that during the week. And then on Sunday, I did that again with a different set of friends who live in St. Kitts. Yeah. And just had a lovely day with them on the beach, spent the night with one of them and her daughter, had a really lovely catch up, and then went on to a boat and came back over to Nevis the following day. And I just was so grateful to have those options and to have that ease. And I love being on water. So the sails, although quite different, one is 5 minutes, one was 30 minutes, just gave me a lot of joy just being on water and listening to the conversations around me. and gave me some grounding. So I was very grateful just for having that and for having the financial ease to do so. So yeah, that's what brought me joy over the last week. What about you, Fiona?
I think the masquerade thing. The masquerade thing, that's what's really making me happy. Seeing the young people get involved. And of course, they're not being paid to do it. They're doing it for the love. I mean, they should be paid, but of course, with everything, creators are always underpaid. Most productions are underfunded. But
next episode, girl.
Yes, but I would just say I love seeing young people get involved, and they're teenagers. They're not doing anything else but just wanting to perform well on stage and to dance and to learn how to project their voice and make jokes, and it's just really a very organic feeling. So it's nice to see that.
That sounds good, and that feels good. Just listening to your earlier story, because it was a story really at the beginning of the episode.
It's a wicked story.
It's a wicked story. Even listening to that actually brought me joy as well. So thank you for that, Fiona.
You're most welcome.
There you have it, friends. You see what I did there? Friends.
We see.
We've come to the end of this episode, and we just like to say, before I close,
yes,
we are looking for sponsors for Relatable, ladies. Are we? Yes, we are. So please feel free to get in touch with us. We're reaching out to some sponsors. If you are interested, please feel free to reach out. All the information will be in the show notes. So thank you for listening, and remember, a shared journey brings home.
I was singing, it's so on point.
Always.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Relatable, because a shared journey brings hope.